What's going on? This is Tinfoil Hat Talk. We're talking about aliens tonight. If you are probably drunk, this is the best content for you. Or if you probably took some freaking mushrooms or some 420, you probably are in the right place to be. You might be a little weirded out a little bit more than what you are, but this topic is pretty typical topic when you talk about tinfoil hat talk. You know, pretty much aliens is it's always something. Now this picture in the background here, it's kind of weird, kind of tinfoil hattish. They said it was going to be a pink moon, but I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't see any pink moon. I don't know. Have you saw a pink moon? I would love to know if you actually saw the pink moon that was supposed to be between April 11th and April 13th. I didn't see it. Maybe you needed a high-powered telescope to actually see it, but I myself did not see it. Well, anyway, one of the things that I find kind of interesting is I don't really see that much content about aliens on YouTube. Most of the content that I saw was on TikTok. Now, is that a conspiracy? I don't know. But I'm going to talk about this topic nonetheless, and we're going to get through this. We're going to, let's just start it off by, going to an old video file of some older guys, very, very old, that's going to give their alien story.
From advice from the extraterrestrials. Yes, it's true that we have been in contact with your government and heads of power. It is also true that we've been It is also true that agreements have been made and kept secret from your people. It is also true that in the past some of your people have lost their lives or have been badly hurt to protect the secret. Our hands had no part in this. We contacted your leaders because your planet is in grave trouble. Your leaders said the vast majority of your population wasn't ready for anything like us yet. So we made time agreements with your leaders as to when your people would be made aware of our presence. Your air, your water are contaminated. Your forests, jungles, trees, and plant life are dying. There are several breaks in your food chain. You have an overwhelming amount of nuclear and biological weapons, which include nuclear and biological contamination. Your planet is overpopulated. Warning, it is almost to the point of being too late, unless your people act. There are better ways of deriving energy and food needs without causing your planet any damage. Those in power are aware of this and have the capability of putting these methods into worldwide use. Those in power view it as a military and security threat. That upset me. You mean to tell me that the people in power have the ability to save and better the planet, and they aren't doing it? Amnesty. What do you mean? Complete amnesty to those in power, governments and leaders who have been suppressing the truth, that they can't be held liable for any past wrong deeds. It is the only way these leaders can come forward with the truth. It is necessary that you do this in order to work together. And
All right, so that's the end of that. I'm gonna get that out the way. Um, we're gonna just keep it going for the sake of time. I'll eventually get to my alien story or my UFO story. I'll just, to if you waiting or whatever, I've never seen no alien as far as I know. Well, actually I kind of did. I'm gonna try to find that story because actually I talked about it on another channel, but I actually do have some type of alien story nonetheless. Let's just keep it going.
That these dudes just testified before Congress under oath that there are aliens here. The comments on YouTube are freaking out about her because Miss Luna here does not play games. So listen to what she asks and then watch this man's answer straight defy physics.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
The human body can withstand about 9 G forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts, and ultimately redouts, and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
And in the reports, this isn't just in the air, this is underwater too. This brought to mind a supposedly controversial theory behind the seemingly impossible movement of UAPs, if we can in fact call it movement at all. He proposed that the way we were looking at it was limited, and that rather than moving through space as we know it, that instead these vehicles travel by shifting their point of realization in the field, which to any onlookers would certainly simulate movement, but would be more aptly described as a kind of rapid, continuous teleportation of sorts. So despite physically traveling, the object technically would be stationary, which in theory would make maneuvers of this magnitude survivable for organics. Which is why her inference that they might be living craft is an astute observation, because the instantaneous acceleration reported by multiple sources far surpasses the speed at which someone could access a control panel. It doesn't move like good reflexes, it moves more like straight synapse. And the actual scariest part is that despite all this, rent is still due. So if it wasn't crazy enough that these dudes just testified before Congress under oath that there are aliens here, the comments on YouTube are freaking out about her. This Luna here does not play games.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
The human body can withstand about 9 G forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts, and ultimately redouts, and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
And in the reports, this isn't just in the air, this is underwater too. This brought to mind a supposedly controversial theory behind the seemingly impossible movement of UAPs, if we can in fact call it movement at all. He proposed that the way we were looking at it was limited, and that rather than moving through space as we know it, that instead these vehicles travel by shifting their point of realization in the field, which to any onlookers would certainly simulate movement, but would be more aptly described as a kind of rapid, continuous teleportation of sorts. So despite physically traveling, the object technically would be stationary, which in theory would make maneuvers of this magnitude survivable for organics. Which is why her inference that they might the instantaneous acceleration reported by multiple sources far surpasses the speed at which someone could access a control panel. It doesn't move like good reflexes, it moves more like straight synapse. And the actual scariest part is that despite all this, rent is still due.
Message.
That's about all I got from that too. Rent is due. I don't know what the fuck they was talking about on that one, but I mean, nonetheless, let's move on. Let's get this out the way here. Hopefully, y'all have a good evening. Let's see here. Let's go right here.
Some dots here because they are connected. Okay, when Donald Trump was on the Joe Rogan podcast, they had a conversation about aliens, not the ones Trump wants to deport. Okay, the ones from other planets. Let's listen.
There's a lot of interest in it.
One of the things that
There's a lot of interest in the people coming from space, you know.
Yes.
And I know you're interested in
Oh,
that.
very
too.
interested in that. How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you?
Well, it's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, you know.
That's dot one. Where there's a man named Cliff High. You should Google Cliff High. He is a researcher known for developing a technique called predictive linguistics, which involves analyzing.
Now, first of all, I'll say this. I'll state my case. I do believe in aliens. Yes, I do believe in aliens. I know some people don't believe in aliens. That's fine. I do believe in aliens. My thing is, if you think that we're the only planet in the universe with actual beings that live, that have some type of movement, some type of intelligence, some type of ability to live on a planet, I mean, that's a lot to say. To just say, okay, you got the entire universe, you got different planets, you got planets that are very similar to Earth. I don't know exactly the names of them. I'm not that intergalactic. I'm a smart dude, but it's people that I know that are definitely more smarter than me and definitely know way more than I do. I mean, I'm just saying, but I do believe in aliens.
Using internet data to predict future events. And based off that conversation with President Trump and Joe Rogan, he predicted a future event. Let's listen.
But what we do have some justification for suggesting is that there will be 39 days between the temporal marker of the Trump interview and the appearance of this visible contention. The visible contention, space aliens. Okay, so like, sort of very complex kind of Independence Day kind of shit, right? Nobody will know who the hell is doing what with whom. Now, so anyway, now we have a strange thing where there's swarms of 20-foot drones flying around military bases. So unknown. Nobody knows who owns these drones, who's controlling them. At least they're not telling us guys.
Now, my whole life, 1 + 1 has equaled 2. But then I heard Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan, and regardless of what he thinks about math, 1 + 1 still equals 2. Trump and Rogan had this conversation. Cliff High, who previously predicted the 2004 Indonesian tsunami, stated that an alien invasion will be triggered 39 days after Trump's appearance on Joe Rogan. Trump's interview took place on October 25th, 2004, marking the start of the countdown. We first started seeing these SUV-sized drones on December 3rd. Either we are in the midst of one of the greatest social experiments of all time, one of the greatest pranks of all time, or we being invaded by aliens. Okay, according to Cliff High, the alien invasion will involve air battles between UFOs and military forces, with UFOs even engaging in combat among themselves. Listen, I don't know what's happening. I just know that White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby is telling us these SUV-sized drones are manned aircraft. It's not one, it's not two, it's not several, it's a lot of them. One of my peoples in Jersey sent me a video last night of 8 of them over her neighborhood. If this is manned aircraft, then whose mans is this? Okay, who are these men? Are they little and green? And why are we okay with what's happening? Kirby, your statement didn't answer any questions. For me, it raised even more because
now I did find something that is kind of along with what he's actually talking about. It's like a video something kind of tripped out looking in the sky. Let's play that real quick.
What do we see?
What's that? Is mommy looking at the right thing?
Oh my God. Jay, what do we see?
Y'all saw that? I mean, there is so much evidence out there proving that there are life on this earth other than ourselves. But people rather wait for the government to say something or sit there and blame it on everything else, but face the fact that we are not alone.
Okay, let's go back to this one.
Looking down at our phones. We are slaves to the lies that our smartphones tell us, and it causes us to ignore the realities all around us. You can call people like Cliff High crazy. You can call them a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, a lot of people do not believe in a lot of stuff. Do you know if you got the ability to just separate from people that just don't want to change their mindset and they don't believe stuff, you could literally ascend right to the elite. You can ascend to the elite like that. Like you could be like your whole existence can change just like that, because you got people that's so brainwashed or so, just programmed to just follow their little system that they're following, that they don't even pay attention to free information. They don't pay attention to information that they have to pay for. They don't know how to implement it. You got all of this stuff, people that can't get into relationships and all this other crap. If you able to just make that paradigm shift and put things together, put the information together, and then just follow it, you could just basically separate from the average person just like that. Like it's just like the snap of the fingers. It might take you some years to actually fully process everything, but you could literally just boom, just your whole life will just totally change because you actually applying the information and putting it into action. Because, like, for example, a lot of people say knowledge is power. Yeah, it is, but actually applying that power and actually putting it into action is the full resolution of that power. And a lot of people do got information, but they don't actually act on it. See, like a lot of times with me, I put out information. I put out a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff I can't necessarily, I don't have the money to buy it. So like if you go on my Facebook page and you see a real estate listing, I'm posting that real estate listing because I don't have the money to buy that property. Because honestly, if it's something that I don't normally do, that's the reason I'm doing it. It's not because I'm trying to get you to buy it. I don't have the money to buy the shit because I'll buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll buy a whole block if I need to, if I had the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times people they don't understand that, okay, everything is data. It's a lot of information out there. They, I guess, be so programmed to follow their life and follow whatever they got going on in their life. And they can't even just separate from their actual daily life. It just kind of stuck. And it's like, I get it, but you gotta if you want to actually have a better life than everyone else and you want to live above average life, you actually have to separate from what you think is possible. You got to separate from, like a lot of people are talking about red pill and this and that. Well, all of that is based off of The Matrix, the movie The Matrix. And but the thing is that that's where that red pill came from. It's not just about women. It's about knowledge. It's about awakening to what is actually going on. Like a lot of times what I'm saying is people are so programmed to just basically be just locked into whatever they got going on because it's a good system and they're in a survival mode and they just stuck. And it's like, I've been there before, but you got to understand it's 21-year-olds that's millionaires. Okay, I'm just going, I'm just gotta just say it like it is. Like, a little bullshit job that you go to, that you try to play, some Hunger Games and Survivor at, you make your whatever you make lower or higher or whatever you think you make. It's 21-year-olds that made what you made in a day trading options. I've seen them. I know they are. It's people and you don't even want to talk. I'm talking about 21-year-olds. If I go to the hedge funds, it's even more mind-blowing. If I go into the fact that they're not even manually making trades, they're actually using automated quantum computers that are trading billions of dollars within seconds. It's even more intergalactic. And you got to understand that they're making billions and billions of dollars from profit off of other people's money because they're trading it, and then they give them a cut of the profit that they make. Now you understand why the fuck I think the way I think and why I am not inferior. I don't have an inferiority complex. I don't give a fuck how low my money actually is. I know exactly what the fuck is going on to a certain extent as far as money wise. Now I might not have the money of a hedge funder or a hedge fund manager or fucking a hedge fund trader, but I understand what the fuck they're kind of to a certain extent what they're doing. And I understand that level of momentum and what you're able to accomplish with it. And one of the things that I like about young people, 21-year-olds, they don't have all of these, hang-ups, and they ain't worked on no job for 20 years or 15 years or 10 years. And they like, just stuck. And, they seen their parents get ramrodded through years and years of them trying to do certain things. So they don't have all of this junk, all of these mind viruses. So yeah, they able to just kind of, ascend certain levels that a lot of people are jealous of possibly, and also don't really understand themselves, but I mean, that's just my side. I was thinking about that. I had to get that off, man. What's going on, Stanley? What's going on? This guy, he's saying he's a naval officer. Okay. He's kind of got a little history lesson, I think, to redo, because he kind of embarrassed me a little bit, because I'm not the person to argue, and I definitely try to be respectful, especially if he actually is a naval officer, extremely respectful. But I was like, I kind of lost face. That's why I left that chat or that panel, because it was like, well, two people being embarrassed, I'll just leave, then I'll just be the one embarrassed. Then we was talking about some other stuff, which is actually kind of related, but not really, as far as illegal immigrants, as far as the whole African American debate. I'm not even going to go into that, but I was, talking about, well, one of my things is obviously there's a lot of propaganda that's being pushed. A lot of people are pushed with propaganda, and that's my theory, and it holds true. It hasn't been untrue. I mean, it's very obvious. I mean, it's, I'm not going to even go into depth into that, because, I don't want no smoke. I already got smoked. I mean, I don't want to get smoked again. I can't deal with it. I don't want to deal with Big Daddy government chasing after me. No, it's all good, man. I like you, man. You a cool dude, man. I like your level of class and bouginess that you have about yourself. I think people need to be more classful and tactful. I try to be, but doesn't really, let me get up out of there. But yeah, it is something going on with these aliens, though. It is something that just is one of those weird things. But we gonna finish this video here, and we got some other stuff. I'm going, I gotta hit you with the I'm gonna go bring up some kind of Black conscious community guys. I'm gonna bring up Elijah Muhammad's Ezekiel Wheel, basically philosophy. So stay tuned. This might be long. I actually wanted this to be short, but I think it might have to be long because it's a lot of stuff that I have to kind of get out. So I'll try to chunk it up into short chunks to kind of concise everything. But let's just finish this here.
But I don't see it being a coincidence that he predicted an alien invasion would happen 39 days after Trump's appearance on Joe Rogan, when they was on there talking about aliens, and then all of a sudden flying SUVs are all over New Jersey. Why are they just?
But if you are a naval officer, in fact, I do believe you are. I mean, that's
is
pretty
this even
badass.
lawful? Why wasn't the public informed about these operations ahead of time? Look, man,
it's not
the American government. It's okay to be honest with the American people. Just admit either you don't know what's going on up there, or you do,
present or
and it's not something you want us to know about. Because all Black Twitter going to do is make jokes anyway. Okay, the American people.
So he's talking about something else. Guess he's pretty much done. I tell you a true story though, Stanley. It's a true story. My father is no longer here. He's from Ghana. His mom was from Mali, and his dad was from Senegal. And now that I just mentioned it, I might have to put up something about the Dogons. Now, he said when I was out in the recruiter's office because I was enlisted, and I had about 60 hours after I got out of college. So when I was in boot camp, I pretty much got rank. After boot camp, I was already at E2 because I had those credit hours. But I never forgot when I was in front of the recruiting station, I had my dress whites on, helping a recruiter that day that actually recruited me out of an office out of the south side of Chicago. I don't think that office is still there. It's like off of near 87th and Commercial. People from Chicago know that area. He pulls up in his cab because my dad was a cab driver for probably at least 30, 40 years. And he's like, kind of like, because he pulled up and, he's like, first thing he said, why didn't you become an officer? That was the first thing he seems like, why didn't you become an officer? I was like, man, come on, man. I mean, I could have easily done it. It's kind of like what I said before. All you have to do, in case you young guys out there and gals, to become a naval officer or any officer for a fact, you have to go through. I'm not gonna say you have to, but it's all you have to do, really. I mean, one of the major things is just major. When you go to college or university, primarily, I'll just say university, go through the ROTC program. And that's a fast track into being a whatever, Army officer, Navy officer, Air Force officer. That's all you got to do. Now, I didn't get to a university until Actually, I got done with college. I mean, done with my military service. But yeah, that's all you got to do to be a naval officer from basically the civilian side. That's the best route, to just basically go to university, the ROTC program. They will fast track you into being an officer. And the caveat is you'll get your tuition fully paid. You don't have to worry about any college tuition. It'll be fully paid for you. And after you finish your undergrad, you'll be basically starting your commission training to become an actual officer. So that's that's how you do that.
Message.
So let's get right into this other video here, which is kind of like breaking news, because this is fresh off the press. So according to some actual declassified document, this is actually a true story.
The CIA declassifies documents saying that aliens turned 23 Soviet soldiers into stone. Now, you see, I've been trying to tell y'all this for a while, that they got weapons that can literally petrify people, trees, buildings, you name it.
And then here's the tripped out thing about this conversation and the concept of aliens, right? The whole racial shit. So imagine if there's actually some aliens on the actual attack, let's just say. That would turn the whole racial shit to utter. I mean, one of the things about, in case you didn't know about the military is racist, but here's the thing, it's kind of similar to what I'm talking about with the aliens. In actual war, nobody gives a fuck about no goddamn race. It's, can you survive that shit or not? It's not about no, oh, you white or you black. And I mean, people look out for who they look after, but it's about actually surviving that shit. It ain't got nothing to do. If it just so happened, you gotta understand. I mean, I was on a ship, but you gotta understand, if you're in the Army or the Marines and you're out there, you're out there. Ain't that you're in the cavalry or whatever. You out in the bush, the fields, the desert, wherever you are. And whoever's out there with you, and you got, basically your platoon, shoot, y'all got to survive. Y'all out there with, behind enemy front lines. You ain't worried about what somebody look like. You worried about this person is going, basically got your 6 or your 12, which is got you your front and your back, basically. Primarily, shooting at the enemy. That's all you concerned about. You ain't worried about no racial bullshit. You trying to survive that actual deployment, and that's the main focus. Now, with the alien thing, I think that would be the same outcome. Like, people would not really be giving a fuck about no damn, white, black, whatever, if aliens was actually attacking people. Like on full on frontal, like where you could actually see some green space aliens or whatever actually attacking people. People would not give a shit about no damn racial, whatever, my race or this race and all of that. They would not give a shit, And I know you heard this before. I mean, this is not nothing new, but this is just kind of what reminds me of this.
Let's get into the article, fam. So here's the document, family, and the document is called Cosmic Revenge. And in this document, it says that the KGB Top Secret Intelligence Administration, a lot of material from that department found their way abroad, in particular to the CIA, as reported by the administrative magazine Canadian Weekly World News. U.S. intelligence obtained a 250-page file on the attack by a UFO on a military unit in Siberia. Now, it says that the file contains not only many documentary photographs and drawings, but also testimonies by actual participants in the events. One of the CIA representatives referred to this case as a, quote, a horrific picture of revenge on the part of extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze, end quote. Now, according to the KGB materials, a quite low-flying spaceship.
Now, keep in mind, this is actually a declassified document. He is actually reading from it. He's not making his own interpretation. He's reading from this actual document.
In the shape of a saucer appeared above a military unit that was conducting routine training maneuvers. For unknown reasons, somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. It fell to the earth not far away, and 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes emerged from it. It is stated in the testimonies by the 2 soldiers who remained alive that after freezing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. That object began to buzz and hiss sharply and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At the very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived. Now, the KGB report goes on to say that the remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. Specialists assume that a source of
This is another thing. They are probably going to make a movie about this, or some series of Netflix series or wherever, Hulu, Amazon Prime. They're already making some preparation to fund some type of movie or Netflix series about this. You got to believe that, obviously.
energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different from that of limestone. A CIA representative stated, in quotes, if the KGB file corresponds to reality, this is an extremely menacing case. The aliens possess such weapons and technology that go beyond all our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked. End of the document. Now, family, like I said, I've been saying this for a long time, that there's technology out there that is far superior than the ones that the everyday humans like you and me have. So you can only imagine what the military has actually extracted from said, crash sites or explosion sites of these UFOs, if you will, and reverse turned living people and changed their molecular structure into that of limestone. What do y'all think about that? I'm trying to tell y'all, what it do. Directed energy weapon for educational and entertainment purposes only. Leave what you think in the comments below. Peace and one love.
All right. So yeah, that's actually a true declassified document. It's that's something that, as far as like where that is and all of that, yeah, but they are opening up certain declassifications to certain documents about aliens. And a lot of pilots, they have some story, if you ask them about them seeing a UFO. They have saw some type of UFO up there. You got to understand, they're flying these airplanes, and they're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff up there. So we're going to get into this here. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but this is basically Elijah Muhammad. And his theory is, he has a theory about the mothership. Now, before I get into this actual documentary, I'm going to find where it is in the Bible that talks about Ezekiel's wheel. Okay. Okay, and first let's actually like, now that we thinking about this, right? Or we talking about this, I'm not, I gotta look up something else, okay? Let me see here. Because the Bible is very tinfoil hatish in itself, the actual Bible. And the Quran is also, both of those books are very tinfoil hatish. Very, very tinfoil hatish. Okay, so Ezekiel, they say Ezekiel was a prophet and he was also a priest. He was a priest basically under or after King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. Okay, so he was basically a prophet and also a priest. You could say a wise man, because most priests are wise men. Okay, so when you say priest, that's also another term for a wise man. So let me present this before I go open this this lecture. And you gotta understand, this is audio. They didn't really have video like that. They do have video, but I didn't find any on him actually talking about when it comes to Elijah Muhammad talking about Ezekiel's will, but I put the closed caption on so you can actually see it. So in Ezekiel 1:15-27, okay, it says, where the prophet saw 4 wheels attached to 4 living creatures, later identified as cherubim, who were guarding God's thrones or throne. These wheels were described as being like a wheel within a wheel and were full of eyes. Okay, so that's pretty tripped out. Pretty tripped out right there. So let's go open up this here. I'm not trying to make you, I have never been in the Nation of Islam. I am not a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm not trying to recruit anybody to join the Nation of Islam. It's just, you got to understand. Okay, I'll try to help you understand things. This is what I'll help you understand. Let me try to educate you on understanding of what, like, my philosophy and kind of just different things, right? Let me kind of help you understand my logic tree and where I kind of have understandings of, or just let me just tell you like this. I'll just explain it. I was trying to show you some type of picture, but I don't necessarily have all of that right now. So you gotta, as far as this, when it comes to like Black consciousness, right? Or the Black conscious community, you have a shit ton of just the conscious community in itself. Let's just say conscious community, but notice Black conscious community, because that's pretty much, I ain't got no choice. That's who I am. But I am very, very conscious, or red pill, or whatever, black pill, if you want to go even more crazy and creepier, when it comes to the knowledge of things, right? And different stuff out there in the world, right? So when it comes to the conscious community and the Black community, you have a couple elements. Okay, not even a couple, a multitude of elements, right? And one of those elements is the Nation of Islam. Then you have the Nation of Gods and the Earth. You have the Moorish Science Temple. You have the Hebrew Israelites. You have the Kemetic community, or the Kemetic people. Then you also have this Islam. You got the monotheistic religions, because you have the Jews. You know, they have the Torah, the Talmud, the Book of Kabbalion. They have, and then you have Islam, which is the Torah, the Quran, and then also they have the Hadith, and then you have different, you know, sayings from the Prophet. You have different, you know, you have stuff within that, because within Islam you have two kind of offshoots. You have the Sunnis and the Shiite, and that has something to do with one of the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, which was basically Ali. He was basically, I think he was killed by someone. Someone did something and killed him. So the offshoot of them is the Shiites. So you have the Shiites, and then you have the Sunnis. And what the Shiites do is kind of weird, right? Because they do stuff like beat themselves. They walk around and beat themselves with something. So, and then you got the Sunnis that follow Prophet Muhammad. Then you have Christianity. Christianity is, and then you got to understand, this is what you got to understand about what I'm saying. There is a multitude of different groups within every aspect of these different, like, organizations, you could say. There's offshoots of those. You've got different groups and all kinds of stuff. So you got to understand, like, even with Christianity, you have a multitude. You got the Mormon church, you got the Catholic church, you have the Jehovah's Witnesses, you got the Baptists. The Baptists don't believe certain people are, you know, you got certain Christians don't believe certain people are actually Christians. They don't believe that Jehovah's Witnesses are Christians. You got people that, you got a whole bunch of different clusters within Christianity. That is also part of the conscious community. All of these are conscious, like, let's just say, spears within the conscious, quote unquote, ideology, or the understandings of different things, right? So when I say all of these things, right, as far as the Black conscious community, all of these encompass that. And mainly, basically, the Nation of Islam, the Hebrew Israelites, Nations of Gods and the Earth, Moorish Science Temple of America, and then also these other groups from the main three religions, right? And also you have Hindus, Buddhists, different also religions that are also part of that as well. So it is very, very intergalactic as far as the levels of consciousness and understandings that you could try to tap into and try to learn and things of that nature. So that is why I'll be all over the place. And that's why I've, you know, some of these lectures I've actually listened to. But it also is how you can achieve enlightenment and be actually very, it's one of the reasons why I'm also very intelligent. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind as well. Now, let me open up this video. Let's play this. I got the closed captions on. So maybe you can follow kind of the words, because you might not be understanding of what he's saying, because this is 1960, 1970 analog recordings. You know what I'm saying? So you might not be able to pick up everything, but you got to understand that's why I'm playing all of these things, because this is what they be talking about. You know what I'm saying? They be all into the conscious. You can't talk about the conscious community, quote unquote, the Black conscious community, without talking about, basically, the Nation of Islam and stuff like that. I mean, damn near, I'll tell you this, as far as consciousness, a lot of Black men, it's more Black men that are conscious than Black women. That's one of the things that I learned when I first kind of got into it. It's not really an incentive for Black women to be conscious, because you got to understand this, right? This is what I'll say. And I know I always spin shit into women. I always, quote unquote, spin women into it, but it is a factor into everything. Like, without a woman, women play a role in damn near everything. So the thing is this, like, the reason why I think that there's more, quote unquote, blue pill women, because women really, if women, or let's just say this, women can actually live more women can actually live their life and just basically simplify things, look good, if they have looks, and they have let's just say looks and a bountiful body, right? They don't necessarily have to worry about much. I mean, they know they'll be provided from a man. They know men will like them, and they know men will take care of them. And if they can make some extra money on the side, good. They don't really have an incentive to actually, in many regards, become conscious and all of that, because a lot of them can just basically live their life and just kind of be consumer slaves and stuff like that, and just buy a bunch of clothes and jewelry and stuff that women buy and just live their life, because they don't really have to worry about that. One of the things when it comes to men are very competitive, and we are we have to be logical to actually survive. We can't play the games that women play or whatever. Everything is pretty much on us. If we make a bad decision, it's on us. We can't say we're just a man. We have to basically basically be gods within ourselves, general, operator, and destroyer, right? Generator, operator, and destroyer, right? We have to, you need certain levels of understanding to do that, right, properly, in order to generate opportunities, and in order to operate those opportunities, and destroy them when they're no longer needed. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to be conscious to a certain extent to fully do that. When it comes to women or women, right? Basically, as long as they're able to have healthy children, get whatever they need, they, a lot of time they don't have no incentive to actually try to maintain some or achieve some levels of consciousness or whatever. A lot of times, to be honest, women become conscious when they get a boyfriend or husband that actually trains them, actually shows them some certain things. Then a lot of women actually became conscious because their boyfriend and or husband opened their eyes to certain things, right? So some women do try to seek certain levels of consciousness or enlightenment. But you got to understand, in my opinion, I think that it's not that much of an incentive for women to do that. If they have certain, gifts that they were born with, they could, kind of just tap into those things and be provided for and all of that. But those things are, I think, changing because society is being very, very competitive. Society is squeezing in. You got 8 billion people on this planet. Very, very competitive now. And it's more a variety of options. And also, it's a lot of pressure on women So I think women, because of that, are going to kind of have to be more enlightened and awakened to survive. But that's my theory on this. Let me open this up. I'm not gonna play that much of this because it's an hour long. I just want to just kind of show you what the whole theory with Elijah Muhammad with Ezekiel's will and his whole thing about the mothership. I just want to let you kind of digest that. I think I played a little bit of that in the Yakub video. So some of this might be a repeat, but I'm going to go more in depth with this one. So let's go with this one right now.
Weapon to destroy the original black man from the face of the earth. Yeah, and there. God have already prepared a destructive weapon for him. This is something that you have read of, but you didn't know what it was. The Bible is a very good book to study if you understand. But when you don't understand, Allah don't let you stay into the darkness of ignorance.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, the Nation of Islam, they use the Bible and the Quran. They have their own version of Quran. They use the Bible though. They use the book, the Bible and the Quran to actually teach from. And both of those books, you do need a certain level of understanding. I want to say intelligence to actually decipher what they're saying. If one of the things I'll say is that because one of the they say you have to have the gift of discernment, and I believe that is true. That is true. I think you do have to have that. Now, if you read books, if you're a book reader, you already have a leg up in discernment. See, I think a lot of people that don't have the ability to read a Bible on their own and interpret it properly, a lot of those people that are not able to do that they're not readers. Like if you're a reader, like you read a lot, the chances of you having that ability to have discernment is going to be higher than the average person that does not read. Okay. And don't have a lot of understanding, right? So that's one of the things that is true. That's very, very true.
To the truth. That is it. He raised up a man in that people and given the knowledge of that which they don't have the knowledge of. So you're lucky. This is the man that he loved you so well that he raised up one of you and myself to teach you that which have been prophesied by the understanding, while you may be just guessing. Pick upon your outer line. Make your outer line heavier, brother. It's too dim, the outer line. Then your large first picture there should be cut down into just about half. You got it up there, even with your plane. The earth should be made just half. There's a small corner down. Yeah, because you got it too close. Mm-hmm. So we want to carry along a little bit, something with right in there. thing of it. This should have been moved way up high. You could erase my letters there. So you could have erased my figure. Then that wheel should have been moved up high. But since that you didn't, so we don't have time now to wait. Yeah, make your borderline. Make your borderline, brother. Minister. Yeah, out of that. Yeah. I mean, don't make an error now.
Now it probably is a video of this. I don't know, but what he's doing is he's got visual art or drawings that he's giving a presentation, and the brother didn't. Basically, one of his assistants didn't do it properly or didn't set it up properly, so he's trying to get it together. So that's why I skipped all of this. I actually try to skip further and get to what is going on. Okay, so let's get right into this here.
You know, brother, it is true that the teacher have a job trying to train students. He hates for them to make a shame in the presence of visitors. Is that right? I know I do. And if the teacher would bear me witness, he said it's the same. That's about the ugliest wheel I ever seen going. That's right. That's about the ugliest wheel I ever seen. I would erase all that wheel and just make me a new one. That's all right. That's all right. We're going to switch time. He used to put this before we could get through talking about it. But he went off, I guess, and got mixed up with some bad company. Had taken all of his thoughts away from the thing that is wavering around now. This represents that Ezekiel wheel you read up in the Bible. They actually have it up there. It's up there now. The devil knows it's up there. This is why he is continuing. I want him to be sure he's here. To go up and make claims that can fly so swift that if he could discover in the sky, he would be able to get back to it to throw a rocket in it wherever that he could move. He's making claims to stretch the space with the high speed known to his science. And this wheel here, that Ezekiel prophesied.
In my opinion, this is kind of way out. This is way out, but in my opinion, I think there's already a Star Wars type of reality that exists already in the outer space. I believe that it's already actual Star Wars level technology where There are star fighters that are already in outer space that are able to go way faster than the average plane that you see. Like, this is my theory. This is my opinion. I believe that there are already spaceships, like Star War type fighter planes, that are already in outer space. In my opinion, I ain't gonna say if I saw some or not, but I think they're already in outer space. There are already Star War type planes that are already in outer space. Now, in case you didn't know, Reagan started actually a Star War project in his administration, during his administration from 1980 to 1988. He administered a Star Wars basically type program. Now, in Trump's first administration, his first presidency, he started the Star, basically Space Force. Okay, that's a branch of the Air Force. So you got to understand, there's some certain things that are not yet declassified that you don't know of. A lot of times you don't understand what's going on, and you think very lowly of man. But you got people, they say even that, it's people that basically are higher level beings. They believe, I'm gonna go into it, so I'm after this, I'm gonna open up something else. And basically, I hate to believe it because it's kind of scary to believe, but according to a lot of the conscious lecturers, I'll just say, they say that there's some reptilian beings or like higher level beings that actually are like the super elites. Like, so you got the global elites, right? But then you got these other elites that are like almost aliens, and they rule the elites. They tell the elites what to do. They tell the presidents what to do, and those are the people that actually run the world. That's according to a lot of consciousness that you hear from other people. And I'm talking about everybody has this actual lesson, as far as not everybody, but a lot of people have talked about this from all walks of life, all races that have talked about this. Anybody that's in the conscious community already knows about it. They talk about the Anunnaki, the reptilians, the frogman, and even just aliens in general, just your, big brain, wide-eyed alien that's actually, running things, and the elites listen to them. And when I say elites, I'm talking about like the people in power listen to them. They tell them what to do, and then they go and do it. Now, again, like, this is a theory. I ain't never seen no fucking reptilian or no fucking frogman, none of that shit. This is what they believe, you know what I'm saying? I just have to put that out there. But I do believe that there are, I do believe that it's something to that. And like I said, I do believe that there are already spacecraft that are above the atmosphere or already in outer space that are already flying around, kind of similar to the actual movie Star Wars.
That's so hot in there. This field is up in there now. This is what they're trying to locate from the moon. If they could get a good stationary place on the moon.
And you got to understand, this is from like this is from either the 1960s or 70s, might even be 1950s. This man, this is why so you got to understand about this man right here. I know a lot of people have a lot of negative connotations because of Malcolm X and his dealings with Malcolm X. And then also he did have a lot of men that basically did some very devilish acts themselves. Like if you research the Murder Inc. in Philadelphia, that was part of the Nation Islam. Okay. So the thing is this, right? He was a very powerful person. Okay. He got stuff done. He actually did bring forth a certain level of black economics that probably no other man has ever done on a small grassroots level in the south side of Chicago as well as other parts of the country. He started businesses, bakeries, manufacturing companies, and competed with everybody else and did it very, very effectively. Now, when he died, a lot of those things fell apart. Okay, it was all out violence after he died, with his father, his son, and also other factions that wanted to carry the leadership role after he passed away. And they actually had a lot of infighting, actual blood violence, people killing each other, other Nation Islam that was trying to follow Elijah Muhammad. Then you had the other side, which was following his son and others. And then you had also Farrakhan trying to actually squeeze in for power. They were all shooting and killing each other. Okay, this is what the older elders told me. You know, that was because a lot of black people actually that are Muslims, that are Sunni Orthodox Muslims now in America, a lot of them, their origin story is from the Nation Islam. Like my mother, her origin story was from the Nation Islam. So this is very, very important history, American history, okay? Because if you see a black man or woman that's a Muslim, their parents or grandparents' origin story came from the Nation Islam.
Message.
And watch for this thing. To have got that done on the earth, and that his height would be something about 20 miles above the earth when he dropped it. That's getting too far the atmosphere, because he wants to use the atmosphere to help guide his gun. So that this gun, when it strikes the earth, it will strike right into the earth. It has the gun that is timed, and that it has a little motor to the gun. That when it strikes the earth, that motor automatically goes on and takes that gun 1 mile into the earth before ever it explodes. When it explodes, it's up a mountain 1 mile high. That's a powerful gun. Allah taught me that that's the same type on the earth. Noah taking it right on through like an air hammer. It don't dig out. It just sucks the stuff right on into the earth. Like an air hammer chiseling down into the earth. And when it gets its time to not explore until it gets a mile in the earth, they have in this dome the type of dynamite that they use to bring up the mountains of Ararat, mountain range. Powerful dynamite. It's more powerful than America is using. America uses 30% dynamite. And these people have their bombs equipped with 100% dynamite today to blast just a few mountains across the continent of North America. And that these mountains pulling up out of the earth from that blasting away down. It will kill people for 50 miles around that crater it makes, pushing up a mountain on each side. And this will go into action when America starts using her high explosion, dropping it from there. This thing will come out and get us. So it carries 1,500, or rather this thing carries 1,500 of these small bomb planes. Each one of those bomb planes carries 3 bombs, and these 3 bombs will take these bombs over an area of just what I said to everyone is dropping a bomb at to cover and to destroy for 150 miles that it was dropped. Excuse me for my lengthy time. But I want you to try and understand this, and I want you to be looking out for anything. I have seen that planet. This is no perfect drawing of it, but the ability to destroy. That's a powerful plane it can dot in the skies just like you see what they call those wheels, not wheels, those things that the flying saucers. Usually plane measures 1 mile. I'll also see plane. As I tell you, if you find me lying on what I tell you what he said, I'll give you $10,000 out of my brother's breast pocket. And if you don't want to have it, I will ask you to loan it to me, and then I'll pay you back. I see you. I saw this plane. This plane can move about into space so wisely until their way of trying to shoot them out of the sky. No, catch this one, there's a sanctity, more than a sanctity. I think it's 4 or 5 hours this place. There's a half a mile, about half a mile. And this plane.
Just think about what he's saying. He said the fucking flying saucer, which is Ezekiel's wheel, which he calls it the mothership, is a half a mile by a half a mile. Now, you understand what a mile is, right? But even a half a mile, that's pretty freaking big, pretty huge. And I mean, that's, basically what he's describing as the Ezekiel's wheel, the mothership.
You may see, look like up here. But if you got out of your eyes, sight so fast until you didn't look like nothing before. You will see this plane one day. Because this plane have a civilization on it. They stay up there a year, and sometime a year and a half. And that thing, it's a wonderful thing. Dreadful looking thing. I'm not trying to deceive you. I'm trying to show you what you're going to see pretty soon. I stopped showing you this plane for years. But now I think I should go back to it. Because they seem to be up there, fixing up to come there to Earth. When America thinks that she's going after this plane, yet she saw it. There's little scientists on that plane. Go to West and change America so that he can't harm to the plane, from what I'm telling you. See if you'll try and deny it. They know he's up there. I sit down and I talked with them years ago about it. They asked me questions. They have to join to have a whole black food up there that they taken from us when they arrested us. And I had gone the plane and wordings, and they've taken it to the FBI's office, and there they have it there today. Because they knew this to be true, and they admitted it. To me, that is true. But I said to you, brothers, and the day when that thing is seen in the sky of America, make haste and run to some folks. There'll be 2 scientists on every 2 blocks. They'll be guiding you to tell you that there while we were sleeping. To save us. That's that table that he made in that circle of the plane represents more this land. Yeah. Here was you and I tell them. And when the Jew would be planning to come and listen to us. If they said it go this way, you go this way. What you were thinking about and knew what they was planning. Now they have one out over 100 over there that can shoot up on us over here. We're pretty smart people. You can do it yourself if you will take time, clear your mind, and then go into some place where no one will harm you. But that video as that brother. And after a while, you know what the brother is saying to himself. And maybe you get a move on the wheel. It is not that we are such people that we have to wait to see everything happen before we know what's going on. We would not be God if we did not know among other than God. Yeah. There is nothing strange if I had two scientists and one, two may be in here, but he wouldn't know it. He's bearing witness quickly. Yes. That this is true. Ezekiel looked up at it and he said, oh, wheels. The wheels so marvelous to the man's imagination that he cried out, oh, seeing that the X was laying up there in the sky, and so far in the sky, he said it was treacherous. These things are going into action now pretty soon. The time is up. God came to go into action.
So yeah, that is Elijah Muhammad's interpretation of the wheel. So I played about 30 minutes. I played about 30 minutes of that. Okay. So he kind of talked about some things as far as, you know, how powerful man is, primarily, you know, he's talking about the black man. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what he ended with that video. Let me play this here, and I'm gonna lead right into that. I'm gonna play some Bobby Hemmett.
But we actually live in our heads and not in our bodies. I didn't mean to mess up your world. Everything that you see outside of you is just a projection of what you have up inside of your head. When someone says, oh, this is what the inside of my head looks like, that actually comes from what the outside of your world looks like. That's why they said as above, so below, as outwards, because it's been right in our faces this entire time. Everything that you see when you open your eyes is coming from inside of your brain. And then we're just the source here experiencing it. This might mess some y'all
that's you know, kind of some segue, little eye candy. But yeah, you know, a lot of people are probably deterred by Elijah Muhammad, right? Because of what all of the things that he embodied, right? But wait, let me educate you. You know what I'm saying? Let me put you up on game, right? So, you know, this guy right here, right? He lost everything because he kind of protested certain things, right? You know, he lost everything. Craig Hodges, practicing Muslim. He protested America's dealings abroad. He wore a dashiki in the White House after the Bulls won their first championship, and after that, the NBA. But this is what it's done. They tell you Islam is bad, but the Bible and the Quran is powerful. It's very highly, conscientious tools, okay, for higher realms of consciousness and also better living, right? So what the things that the elites do that I am aware of and I know, right, is they tell you these things are, bad or whatever, right? That's what they do, right? They tell you, like in the I used to go to church. I've been to church. I've been to churches. Yeah, I've been to churches. I've been to plenty of churches. I've been to Catholic churches. Been to all kinds of different churches, man. I've been to every religious, inside of every religious, the main theistic religions. I've been inside all of them. Okay. And one of the things that I know that they say in church, and they say in the Bible, these pharaohs, these evil people, right? These pharaohs, right? Now I don't know if I did what I was trying to do. Let me see if I did what I was trying to do. Actually, I didn't do that. Let's see here. See if I have it over here. I think I closed it out before I was actually trying to download it because I was trying to show something. Let me go back here. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is one of the things that they do, right? So they say these pharaohs are these evil people, right? These evil pharaohs, right? That's what they do, right? And then bow. Dress up like one. Actually embody the actual knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. Absolutely to accomplish power, true power and influence. That's one of the things I know. I've been knowing this for over 20 years. That's why I move the way I move. That's why I think the way I think. I don't have an inferiority complex. I know what the fuck is what. You trying to cosplay them, they are trying to cosplay you. Now, I was actually trying to download something else. But while that video was playing, I actually did get to that point where I was trying to download, but I don't think I think something happened. I think I probably went away from that file. But nevertheless, I'm gonna get it again. I'm gonna play this video here and we're gonna get right into it. Now, Bobby Hemmett, he says that we are aliens. We are aliens. Let's play this. Oh.
Dagon, Shug Nigara, Hestar, Bridget, Marduk, Marasha, Baphomet, Adam Gwerdi, Ogu Farelli, Ogu Shango, Azuli, Legba, Edowedo, Zaka, Alafi, Demorawedo, Obasala, Oduduwa, Orunla, Oshosi, Olakun, Chingo, Oshun, Ogun, Ilegba, Ishu, Oya, Arisha Oku, Aset, Osea, Heru, Raheru Kahudi, Hoppercrot, After, Pasefi, Amen, Amen Ra, Amen Limpinsaw, Kahudi. Okay, let's see. Newt, Appet, Tayert, Tayit, Nimbus, Muntu, Nanu, Anut, Anpu, Ananuki, Atan, Nebuloatan, Metatron, Meskinet, Nimbus, Sutek, Sutnesi, Sutnubit, Marduk, Inanna, Malkuth, Ra, Keva, Bana, Shakma, Chippereth, Yaped, Had, Ain, Ain Sa'ur, Rabiel, Rabiel, Samuel, Gubiel, Michael, Enoch, Anush, let's see, Kali, Shakti, Shiva, Indrasita, Sutla, let's see, Apollo, Ares, Rhea, Zeus, Hercules, Artemis, Achilles. Okay, let's see if that's official enough for. Well, to all gods, no. To all, okay, and I'll say the Hemet family, Shaw family, Davis family, all my family members. So when I count to three, start calling out your family members. 1, 2, 3. Ashe, 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 Ashe. Ashe. To all God, no. To Malcolm X today. That's one that you need to put down, because this is the day of his assassination, which is more powerful than the birth. Because when you come into the earth, you should be crying, because this is the lowest realm to be on. You should be incarnated into a bag of shit. This is all it is. But when you leave the earth, that's transformation. And you should rejoice when people leave the earth, because death is good and life is bad. Remember, you got to reverse all of them. All right, I guess I'll do it myself, so we'll give this some damn camera right. Because I figured if this is what my taste was like, then I figured that hell, they should like that too. Okay.
Now, one of the things you got to understand about this video and who this guy is, this is Bobby Hemmitt. He was one of the most premier conscious lecturers in the early and late 90s. Okay, and he has pretty much educated a lot of people throughout the decades on higher realms of consciousness and understanding. This was one of the first people that I listened to when I became awakened. Okay, my brother put me on to this gentleman, and it's been up ever since. It's been up ever since.
So like I said, I have this Alchemist book down because I don't sell a lot of stuff. But like I said, the brother put this stuff together, and it's some real good stuff. So I say, get a hold of that for the people that still need the book. It's only $3 for one and $2 for the other. $5 get you both of them, because I have an outstanding interview up in here also too, which puts the light on a lot of things with the simple fact that, like I said, this white boy is getting ready. The way he's jumping off on it, it's going to be all mundane. All mundane. I explained this before, but let me go into some hard copy and open up tonight, and then we're going to go into some things. First of all, let's deal with Bill Cosby. Some people want to know the whole scoop behind that. First of all, everybody know that Bill Cosby is a Boule member on the movie Leonard Part 6. He has to get to a certain level, and what he does, he has to give the code word. He gives the word Boule. As any time, listen, first of all, there have been more talented people in the world than Bill Cosby. But yet, this man becomes super extraordinary rich. That is because in order to get to that particular level, you got to sacrifice something. One way or another, you're going to have to sacrifice something in your life. Just like every movie star, every person that you know of that's on the high level, even if you don't know it or not, they have sacrificed something. You only clap to hit a slob on somebody now, if you know what I'm talking about, or you get booped in the butt, or whatever.
Now, I do not believe that. Over the decades, I do not believe that's one of the most detrimental things that black people that's one of the most harms that the black conscious community has stated that is not entirely true. Is this to say just because you got a whole bunch of money, you got to get, in order to get that, you have to get penetrated? That is absolutely untrue. Now, is it some men have done that? Yes, it is. But does that mean everybody that get money has to get fucked in their ass? No. And the fact that people actually have said that into the entirety is to say that everybody, in order to get money, you got to get fucked in your ass. That's why people that actually believe that, when they see somebody, a black man or woman, with primarily black men, he didn't say women, that you're a bitch or you're a homosexual because you got money. And that was the harm that the quote unquote black conscious community has put on the masses of black people, because they got it to the point where damn near, okay, let's think about it. If you're fearful to get, let's just say, if you're fearful of someone fucking you in the ass, you're not going to make money, because you associate money with being fucked in the ass. And I mean, I don't know why that came about. I don't know what the underlining sentiment was of that, but that is entirely untrue. One of the things, when you ascend to power, you have powerful people that are already there. And what might appear as a sacrifice is a person that actually is trying to destroy a person that's trying to ascend toward power. That's what that actually is. It's not a person that sacrificed someone and that's what they got. Now, do people do that? Yes, it is people that do that as well. But is everybody doing it? No. When you ascend to a certain level, people attack you in higher places. That's one of the reasons. That's why when I did my video on black scholars, why black people don't value their scholars, something like that, to that effect, one of the reasons why black people are afraid to ascend to power and also wealth is they understand that the people that are already up there are going to attack them. That's why they are fearful to get us, even if you don't even become wealthy, if you got a little money in the hood, somebody gonna, rob you, somebody gonna carjack you, somebody gonna try to shoot you and take your money. But when you trying to, buy record companies and media conglomerates, those are tools of the elites, and they're used for power. And you got to understand, you going into, the basically power source, and that's what they did with Bill Cosby. They attacked his family because he tried to ascend to a certain higher level. And if that is true, let's just say what he's saying is true, he would have already got the fucking radio station because he sacrificed, quote unquote, his child. He didn't get that. So the fact that he didn't even get that, what he, quote unquote, was trying to get, means obviously that there was no sacrifice. That was a nigga get your ass back, type of thing.
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
So I'm gonna continue playing this. See what is power. Okay. Hold on. We don't have any sound. All right.
Yeah, now I can hear it. I want to test it. Maybe it's inside the pocket. Then we'll hook it on the belt.
Oh, he's having some sound issues on this lecture. I'm like, what the fuck? All my tech is legit. Shit.
Just put it up here. No,
So that's 1997. I was a fucking junior in high school. Wait, 90, yeah. Yep. I had broke my hand playing basketball. Actually, my wrist.
1, 2, 3. Wait a minute, let me stop this. And you good to go now. Okay. So we back up and running. All right. Like I said, we was gonna talk about the Bill Cosby thing. I wanted to get that on tape. And like I said, basically what's happened with Hollywood, period, just about no person you see on the TV set, movies, TV is noble. Even Farrakhan said it back in, I think, 92. You shouldn't follow or even give a fuck about them people on that TV set. Most of just about all of them will buck dance and will sell you out to make a buck or to get before that camera. Hollywood, and as far as recording, has a history of buck dancing and selling you out. That's why Elijah Muhammad told them back in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, don't buck dance, don't sing for them, don't dance for them, not for $2 or $3, not even for $1 million. That is a secret society. That's an organization just like any other. First of all, everything that's functioning in this particular country is an organization. That's called a corporation. If you get the movie called Free Jack, you'll find out that everything is run by the corporation. So now everything being run by the corporation, Hollywood is a corporation, which is a doggone secret society. So therefore, they don't put a person before the camera, not unless that person is checked out. If he ain't.
Now you notice I ain't said a rebuttal. The reason I ain't said a rebuttal because pretty much it's true.
checked out, he don't stay around long, or he don't get the big roles. You see what I'm saying? He don't get the big roles. So based on that, because Bill Cosby is one of your top Negroes, you know that he's high up in it. So what the deal was, it was a sacrifice. First of all, to get that big, you have to give a sacrifice as far as you have to agree to do something in your life, whether it be on selling your people out, whether it be on doing a role is you jumping and selling out as far as doing something against your nature, or whether any type of thing. You see, well, what happened when it came to Bill Cosby was his son was supposed to follow in his footsteps, not necessarily in comedy, but was supposed to follow in his footsteps as a person that was supposed to someday join the ranks with the Boule or with some form of the secret society that Bill Cosby is in. And as a result, he took another route, and based on that, it set up the sacrifice. And as a result, he got taken out. Now,
No. He was trying to buy, I think, NBC or some shit like that, CBS. That's what that was. That was a nigga get back. That was what that was. If it was a sacrifice, quote unquote, he would have got what he was trying to get. Okay. So again, that was what that was. That was a nigga get back.
Even the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the white people were saying that the woman that they saw at that particular time, the woman that came out to the car with had on the fur, that was supposed to have been his friend, this white woman, they say she was naked up under the fur. And she's in on it with him in the first place. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why, he gave $20 million to Rockefeller, which is Spelman College. So anyway, what the deal is there was some type of sacrifice. All of them got to do a sacrifice. Now you see Will Smith.
Now I do, unfortunately, I mean, like I say, some of this shit, I do think is true. Not all of it. Now, I'm not trying to fucking. This is. I haven't got to the Illuminati yet. He's talking about basically the secret societies, Illuminati, and all that type of shit. I haven't got to that point yet. I'm trying to get to the and I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this on CC2 because he got like a southern draw, which I'm trying to. I can understand him, but in case you can't understand him, I want to make it to where you can see the words as well. All right, and hopefully he's going to get to the whole premise in the lecture, which is we are aliens. But let me continue playing this.
LAPD, whatever. That's the serious time. No comedy past 10 o'clock. But black people past 10 o'clock, they can't deal in those particular slots. Because black people, in order to be on TV, it's got to be comedy and buffoonery all the damn time. Now, BET should be called Black Clown Network, BCT, Black Clown Network, at 10 o'clock. At the 10 o'clock slot, when most of Americans become serious, they have what is called Comic View. And then to add insult to injury, they had to put that old Stephen Fetchit shit in the middle of Comic View with Miss Laura and that old bullshit. You see what I'm saying? They have Comic View. So this is to show you the mentality of black people, which BET is run by Warner Brothers, who is all the Turner Network is Warner Brothers now because they merged. HBO, Cinemax, VH1, MTV, all that is Warner Brothers. TNT, all that, but I'm saying that's Turner. TNT, the Superstations, and all of that. But the key is this. Motherfucking niggas showing that. But yet, the Tavis Smiley show, which he ain't shit either. Don't let nobody fool you. He get that black stuff. But to let him on the TV, he's already agreed to buck dance. Don't let nobody fool you. Ain't nobody on that damn TV you need to look at as noble. That's the white man's realm. Don't let nobody fool you. You know what I'm saying? So now let me back this up. She got a little video shows me on TV. That's different. I'm on a video and she put the thing on TV. That's different than the white man allowing me to come on the TV station. You see what I'm saying? I want to get that straight right now. She even got a little access thing and such, you know, that she showed a little videotape and all.
Even on YouTube.
They devote a whole hour to buffoonery. But yet they only give him 30 minutes. They took poor little Bear that used to come on, Our Voice used to come on every day. First she was an hour, and they put her to 30 minutes, and now she's on Sundays, poor little thing. You see, and the white people are looking at this shit and laughing. Why? Is because they want to put the world view around the world as a doggone idiotic people. Now, let's show you science on this thing. Okay, which leads to Ebonics. Let me show you the stuff on Ebonics. First of all, I said, wait a minute, hold on. There's got to be some shit behind this Ebonics, more than what you think it is. And then I tapped into it, and I understand what's going on here. This is the science. Okay, the argument is not necessarily on Ebonics, because that's good. On the other hand, the other educators got a damn point too. You can learn a damn rap song and fucking one time you hear it, you can learn fucking English right. You understand what I'm saying? And especially with rap, because it takes skills to rap, to mix the words up. So don't tell me you can't learn English right. So the other educators, they got a point too. But the Ebonics people got a point also. So let's talk about the Ebonics thing right quick. First of all, this is the main thing. So you got a lot of, now Ebonics become the household joke. You know, that's the joke of everything now. Ebonics. Let me show you the mentality of black people. You might not think this is nothing, but this is very serious. Because I'm showing you what they're doing here. First of all, if the Jews came out with something called Jewonics, or Jewbonics, or Hebrew Bonics, or fake Jewbonics, to say that we're trying to bridge the gap so we have a dialect in the Jewish community that we've had carried over. We came from Bosnia, or we came from goddamn Germany, or whatever. And we have a dialect we're trying to break, so we got to meet them halfway, and we got this thing, we comprise a thing called Jewbonics, or Zionics, to bridge the gap so our people can speak perfect English. The first thing you'll see, them Jews some badass motherfuckers. That's the first thing you will see. Them Jews bad. They done did a thing, some science that can bridge the gap. You say they some bad. If the Japanese did it, some Japonics, you would say others. That's because the concept of them doing things, you understand, is respectable. You see? But when black people do it, it's a fucking joke. Now, let me show you the catch. First of all, Yawanza Kanjufa conspiracy to destroy black boy, as I already told you, goddamn Crocker ain't interested in you being educated at all or no way. First of all, let me say one thing. First of all, there is no such thing as curse. I got to say this every time. So the people invented when down. So therefore, how could these be curse words? They're supposed to be something bad to God when the damn language wasn't even invented because the cracker couldn't even talk. So first of all, like I say, this is the way we express ourselves as the official language of the ghetto. And on the other way is the reason why I started doing it, because if you hear my earlier tapes, I didn't do it, but the more spiritual I got, the more and more I start talking close to the people in the street, because I'm not interested in a motherfucking cracker seeing this. You understand what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So since we are getting out of the stuff about cracker, and since I'm talking to nigga in the hood, I'm talking to you in your house.
So let me see what let me see you get into the aliens. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna need more than this. You give me a towel. Yeah. Okay. Deal with some things on what we're dealing with right now. Because we got a lot to talk about. First of all, got some new information on Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, at the time, when the white boy understand extinction and understand he's leaving the planet and he's losing the grip, they decided with Mike Tyson knocking out people in the first round, even though they said if he go back past 5, you can whip his ass, but it doesn't diminish the man being one of the most strongest people on the planet. So as a result, they said that they had to lock him up and get him into jail so they could go through what is called a Mike Tyson experiment process, where they can go in and do doggone work on him as far as research work on him to try to get some of his genetic material, you understand, so that they can process this stuff to make a stronger gene for their own survival. So the main way you do that is to get a person in the doggone prison. So it ain't matter he could be sleeping one night and go out for a week and wake up a week later in his room and think it's the next damn day. They don't know what the fuck going on. Because they advanced like they come in and blow a dart in this nigga ass and knock him out for a week. They can keep his. I want you to stick around when I get into some things. But you have to let me explain, and you're going to have to open your minds up to a wider level than what you just see when you just make sense of things rationally, logically, and reasoning. The rationale, logic, and reason, you got to throw that shit out. This the catch on why they're showing this. You got to throw that out. Although you say, because this is why they're showing, this is the reason why we got black educators still talking the same shit 30 years now. They're going the same cycle over and over again. That's because they're stuck in a box. That's what the educational process was. It was to stick you in a box. You understand? Stick you in a box to stagnate your mind and to put a blueprint before you in it. You can't, and it man is giving you to see the actual reality on what's going on. So that's the reason why even will say he is found with Tavis Smiley and all them niggas. All them niggas is fucked up. You see what I'm saying? They can't talk about nothing but the political scene that a white man invented, that in actuality is totalitarianism whitewashed.
All right, so I'm gonna just get out of here, and I'm gonna, I didn't really, I didn't check this out. I mean, this was like basically, I think this was like a 5-hour lecture. So let me try to see if there's a short version of this, as far as we are aliens. Because I want to get his take on this. I mean, he's kind of all over the place. If you're white, you're probably fully offended by this live stream. I mean, yo, I don't know, man. I mean, sorry, I can say sorry. I don't know. I don't know what I could do, man. I mean, let me play this here and see what he's talking about, though.
I wanted to get that on tape. And like I said, basically what's happening with Hollywood, period, just about.
If it's nothing about no aliens, I don't really want to hear.
Why would you say that when nobody has insinuated this in the first place?
Let me see.
Harry Belafonte, Cuba Gooding.
Okay.
Ike Turner. And this is just off the top of my head. Last Sunday before I went to the lecture, I took about 20 minutes. It ended up 71 black TV shows since late 1960, from Julia Baker Because, you know, it was Bill Cosby with I Spy, but that was...
So I think this is like clickbait, maybe. It's pretty much like clickbait. Let me see if this is something here.
It's just like Faulkner. When they religion, this is the arrogance of the Germans. You see what I'm saying? This guy Adolf Ehrman, the arrogance. It was Faulkner that came around after years and said, hey, look, because what they were seeing contradictions in the text. They were seeing shit that nature that didn't make no sense. They were seeing stuff that is straight out wrong. And Adolf Ehrman said, oh, I get it now. They was purposely building in mistakes inside of the religion because that's how nature is. Anything that is smoothed off and is repetitiously the same is artificial. They was looking at the patterns in the chaos. And they know that there's no greater blade of grass that grows the same way. So when you go to Rome and Greece, you will see the columns, they're all even. But when you come to some parts in China, they got columns like this, and columns like that. They said, what kind of crazy people is these? No, these people was copying the lotus that grow out of the marshes of the swamp, and none of them grow the same size. You see what I'm saying? No. So the concept here is, you're talking about magic. The first concept of magic here is never think on the appearance. It's not literal. You see what I'm saying? It's not literal. Now I done did every damn ritual known to fucking man. And I done had every damn thing show up. But ain't no bug-eyed green people from no other motherfucking planet showing up. So you say, well, wait a minute. We see the planets out there. How you can say they're not real? Well, you see the trees out there. You see the mountains out there. You see the river and the ocean. And based on the matrix, they ain't real either. They're Maya and Illusion, the same thing with that universe out there. It's one holographic universe, which is universe A, which is called the petty universe. Universe B is called the real universe that we have been separated from in this thing called creation. You see, creation is a botched job by a subordinate deity that broke away from the great mother. Now in the Dogon, they call it Ama, which is, Ama is actually a feminine principle. It's just a matter of the culture, because they were breaking it from Amun Ra, as Diop says. But the Dogon culture, they talk about Ogu broke away, and Ogu was halfway formed in his mother's womb before he tore out the side. Well, in the Gnostic scripture, still coming out of Kemet, Pharaonic thought, is this entity, Adaldagra, broke away from his mother before he was formed and went and set up a universe of his own, but because he wasn't formed all the way, he botched the job. So creation is a botched job that is not really finished yet, because the spirits had to come in, incarnate into creation, and further it on down the way until it gets to the point where it's finished. So they had to take a botched job, go in through the stream of incarnations until they alchemically got to the right level to destroy this shit. You see what I'm saying? To destroy it. But it ain't coming from some beings out. That's why they ain't showing up. Because they ain't gonna show up. Guess why they ain't gonna show up? Because they showed up a couple of millions of years ago, and you the motherfucker sitting in the room. You the goddamn alien. Yeah. If you don't understand this shit here, you wasting your damn time.
And that's the reason why you say as time go on, things change and it's come to the point to where we come in now.
Did you see the movie X-Men, the first one? They tell you all of it on the first movie. They said it is talking about a series of mutations, so you can get to a mutation. Now, they're talking about us. They say that this process is slow till we bring on a new species. This process is slow. We are the only people that have been around long enough to transmutate into a new species. On the DNA inside of us, which you see the Stafford Tahuti. with the wings of the Medical Association of Staff of Tahuti on the DNA in the same inside of us. On that DNA inside of us, if you know anything about melanin, alpha, melanin is a series of amino acids. And they study the amino acids in us every day. And they know that our amino acids is changing. So this whole shit was put out by a fucking Zachariah Sitchin about the 12 DNA strain. We following that old white man shit. That's for white folks in the barotheric gland. The barotheric gland is nothing but the fucking pineal gland. So they got to play on words. Not the people. You understand what I'm saying? So they would never make a goddamn excuse about this barotheric gland that these aliens took out of us and why we couldn't ride. The barotheric gland is nothing but the pineal gland. And they're talking about them. And the aliens they're talking about us, we created that. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, the reptilians, now let me go back to this thing so you be sure on this. Because it's a government plot. And see, as you think, it's going to be the way you're going to have to unlock these gates. Now, you can play all you want to. I'm just trying to say, look, let me explain something. Now, I don't know everybody, most of y'all will know there's nothing wrong with that. He came down to introduce you to some information, to get you to a certain point, so you can go out on your own and become God on your own. And there's a group of people that was in
Message.
there. They can't go beyond that, but that's all right. They couldn't go beyond it in the first place. There was a group of people, every group out here got a certain amount of gods, and they got a certain amount of people that have to belong to the group. Even in the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad said, we got scientists up in here, and I don't want no more believers. It's right in the damn theology of time. That's when you really start talking this shit. He said, I want God. But there's a certain group of people they can only take things face value, and they got to wait on Dr. York. Dr. York, I've even heard from one of the sisters that Dr. York even told the motherfuckers, God damn it, I'm waiting on y'all. He said this shit. In some of the things, I'm waiting on y'all. Y'all supposed to do it. He was giving the people the things that he understood. Okay, that was the group. And that's by way you came, I'm just saying though. That's by way you came by. Well, why are you here? If it's just easy, you go to Dr. York and tell Dr. York to teach you something.
Say, brother.
No, I'm just trying to say, my point is this. No, what I'm trying to tell you is this. Because that's exactly what I'm going to tell you. Because the part of the first thing I'm going to tell you when I get into this thing is, in order for you to get to the other level, you got to renounce calling yourself anything down here related to a goddamn dude.
Thank you, God.
Because you will be on the roof.
I agree.
And I'm going to tell you how the alchemical shit inside of your body lines up. Then the alchemical process inside of you lines up that way. Because we are God, and whatever you want to do, you got to do. You going to do it. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is this here. The man already told you, did he ever tell you in his teaching to shoot a God? All right then. Then end the story. Now what we're talking about here is the level of the God. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say here is the thing here. It is my ass. You gotta come out of the group. Because I'm trying to tell you this stuff you don't grind up based on group on the mundane level. That's a part of your training. That's a part of your training. I was a part of the community. I was one he listened. And that was good. I needed that at the time to learn a certain amount of meditation and stuff like that, but I realized, hey, that's not the end all be all. There ain't nothing wrong with that. How can you come before something unless you join something first? So that's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to make you forget. When you go first, that's when you rise up a system of spirituality. And a path is your own journey. The initiate has to go on his own journey. You can't take nothing with you. You didn't start off. He said, what's in that case? He said, only what you take with you. I'm not saying that the man stuck around. I'm trying to tell you is you got a level now. If you got to make the decision, you got to goddamn crossroads. And the crossroads is, are you ready to go to the next level? Because guess what? I can't take this next level. You got to make that decision. In the matrix, in the dojo, and it was fight. And the guy said, your problem is not in your technique. Why didn't you beat me? Why did I beat you? The problem is in him. So now, you see what I'm saying? You can't be no New Orleans. You can't be no Nation of Islam. You can't be none of that stuff. You got to be straight up chaos. Because you can't name it a name. When you name it a name, it dies. Melanin inside of you, every time the white boy extracts it, it dies. Melanin never stops moving. And chaos is what melanin is. Melanin is chaos in the blood. Told you that in the movie Phantoms. He said chaos, plain and simple. The rules of chaos, get the book, Condensed Chaos by Phil Hines. Condensed Chaos by Phil Hines. In the book, the first rule of chaos is change is supreme. And if you're not willing to change, then you die. You see what I'm saying? Or you just stay at the same level. And you want to go to the next level, you just stay at the next level. Because change is supreme. And I'm going to tell you, at this particular time.
All right, so that's Bobby Hemmitt. I'm gonna close out a couple of these videos here. These are short videos here. This is on the Anunnaki. This is also a type of alien being. Let's play these.
Is that even though it is a hidden book of the Bible, it also correlates to ancient Sumerian texts, and Enoch was also said to be in ancient Samaria the first priest. Welcome back to another episode of That's Insane with Aja, where I talk about the Book of Enoch, Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as ancient apocryphal texts and hidden books of the Bible. Today I'm going to be telling you about how Enoch was in ancient Sumerian text, as well as different parts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, even though that this book was taken from the Bible long before it. Now, first, someone might ask, who was Enoch? Enoch actually was the leader of the archangels. He was said to have walked with God, and he is the author of all 3 books of Enoch that tell his descents across the celestial heavens and this mission that was sent to him by God. Now, these 3 books that were taken out of the Bible recount how Enoch was taken up to the heaven and was appointed guardian of the celestial treasures, chief of the archangels, and the immediate attendant on the throne of God. He was subsequently taught all secrets and mysteries, and with all the angels at his back, fulfills his own according to whatever the mouth of God says. He lived 365 years and was taken when God took him up to heaven as he walked with God, which basically means he entered heaven alive. Now, the first book of Enoch is where we meet the fallen angels who mate with humans and create the Nephilim, and they create sirens, and they mate with 200 different species of animals on earth and teach women makeup and give war to men, and they basically corrupt mankind. And we see Enoch go on this mission to trap the angels under the Euphrates River and do things that God tells him to do, even before Noah builds his ark, because Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah. And he asked God to save his bloodline, which would be Noah, and this is why Noah was able to build the ark and got the information from God. The thing about the book of Enoch was that it was found in multiple different places on scribes and even in cuneiform script. It was found in the Qumran caves, and it was a part of the Dead Sea Scroll, as well as part of the apocryphal texts, and even in ancient Sumerian tablets. One might think, why is it significant that the book of Enoch even correlates to ancient Sumeria? But that is because the ancient Sumerian people believed in the Anunnaki and gave them all types of glory and said that they practiced things like gene splicing. For Enoch to pop up in ancient Sumerian text and in other biblical texts is absolutely significant, and we should pay attention. Now, in ancient Sumeria, Enoch was known as the first priest, or En-mi-dor-en-kai, like Anunnaki. Notice how when they describe Enoch as the priest, it has that last word, En-kai, which is where the Anunnaki came from, who were said to be the sons and daughters of An and Kai. And Enoch was further known as the man from the city Sipar, taken heavenward to be taught the secrets of heaven and earth, of divination, and the calendar. This is extremely significant because do you guys know that the Sumerian are the reason we can calculate time down to seconds and minutes? They came up with the metric system, the wheel, irrigation, and they gave all of this, like circumference, like, oh, we learned this because of the Anunnaki and because of Enoch, or the first priest to travel to heaven. Now, this video is already 3 to 4.
All right, so we got another one on the Anunnaki.
It's these group of beings. When God's in the Bible says, God said, let us, plural. It says, and God said, and Elohim said. Elohim is God. And so when you look at the word Elohim, it means God with an S, gods, plural. So many gods created man. It said, God, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. So it shows you that mankind is a template, and we look like our creator. That's the first thing they said, right? And then once you see that, then it says what they gonna do. I'm gonna give them the dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, woody whopping this and that. But notice the instruction came. He created Adam and Eve. He put Adam and Eve, Elohim did. So Elohim, these gods, created man, this biological man. They put this man in a garden, right? So they put man in a garden, and then it says his whole purpose was to dress and keep the garden. So his whole purpose was for servitude in the first place. He was supposed to dress and keep this little simulation that the creator Elohim put him in. Then it said that he got smart and he disobeyed Elohim, right? And when he got smart and disobeyed Elohim, he left one service place where it didn't seem like he was working, but to dress and keep the garden is still servitude. He had to guard the garden. What was he guarding the garden for? And he had to dress it, meaning he had to build it up and make it fashionable for him and his family. But after Adam and Kawar, who they call Adam and Eve, went against Elohim's plan and instructions, he kicked them out of one simulation and then he put them in a more hostile environment. Now, in this hostile environment, guess what it says? It says that they had to work from the sweat of thy what? Brow. So now they went from this, tilling the garden to this rigorous hard work. Then you start looking around in the book of Genesis, it's talked about how they worked in a place where there was gold, Havilah, where there was gold. It talks about that they gold mine. It talks about how they was working in the middle of 4 rivers, which where the garden was at. They kicked them out of the garden and put something called a Melachim or archangel in to keep them from getting back into paradise. And while they was outside of paradise, they literally had to work from the sweat of their brow. And if you read in the book of Enoch, or you read in the book of Jasher, or you read in the book of Adam and Eve, it shows how rigorous their work was.
Guy is called Yaki the Awakened. He's a master herbalist. He is he is pretty good at what he does. You look him up. He's on the level where like Dr. Sebi was. I'll just say that because I YouTube, they be acting crazy and stuff, when you say certain things. So, I just leave it at that. But I'm gonna play this. This is it's about the Dogon tribe.
Had a military, police, or a jail system because they had zero.
Start this from start.
Tribe never had a military. The Dogon the Dogon tribe never had a military, police, or a jail system because they had zero crime. They would have disagreements, and then an elder would negotiate the terms of an agreement between the two sides, and that was the end of it. And here we got militaries, we got an Air Force, we got an Army, we got Marines, we got submarines and ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and nuclear warheads, and we got jails and prisons and all that, and we calling ourselves civilized. These people lived in a place during a golden age with no military, no police, no jails, and knew more about astrophysics than we knew, living in total peace and harmony. We don't know nothing. We're still launching chemical propelled rockets into space. We know nothing.
That guy was Billy Carson. Play another video here. Got two more. Just stick with me. There's two more and I'm done. Signed, sealed, delivered.
West Africa. My research to the Dogon, okay, the Dogon of Mali, West Africa. My research of the Dogon explains that there were two French anthropologist historians, de Terline and Griot, that went and lived with the Dogon for a while. This was years ago, in the 20th century. And they celebrated this star that's called Sirius B, or Kizi Uzi, the littlest thing, the littlest star. And this star is said to circle Sirius A, the big star, every 50 years. But every 60 years, they have a celebration. Okay? And this celebration celebrates Sigi Tolo. Tolo means star. Sigi. Okay? They celebrate it. Now, we know that the Kushites also celebrated this. So this is a remnant of collected information. But every 60 years, they had a celebration. Only every 60 years, they celebrated this revolution around Sirius A of Sirius B. And in this celebration, they created what's called a Kanaga mask. K-A-N-A-G-A. I'm a teacher, brother, so I'm going to do a lot of spelling. We're here for our level. I would say, because I want folk to get their pens and pencils and notebook out, because we got to study this. We have to know this, so that when we face these individuals, we shut the room down. Because I'm not coming with no emotion. It's science. Science is knowledge, from the word scient. And so, for me, it's important for the community to know how to spell it, to go research it, and then do what you do. But they built a Kanaga mask every 60 years for this. And after the celebration, they would take it to a special room. And they would put this Kanaga mask on a chair that they built specifically for this Kanaga mask. When Griot and de Terline were there, they went to one of the celebrations of the Sigi ceremony. And they saw the room where the Kanaga mask was brought. And this is going to complete the room. There were 12 masks in the room. Now, every mask represents 60 years that they knew this star. That wasn't seen by the Western world until 1971. The Dogon people knew of this little star in this room. Now, when you multiply 60 times 12, I think the number 720, you're going back to the 1300s. When that room was started.
Wow.
Our origin story, like you mean our cosmology?
Yes.
Our cosmology. According to the Dogon and our elders, a lot of people think that we are aliens, and then aliens taught us, and then we are coming from the star system, right? Like our ancestors came from star system. You know the element that you call aliens? In our cultures, we look at them as gods. We look at them as divinities. We look at them as entities, part of the universe. Entities, part of the universe, that have a way of manifesting themselves in our reality, which is a 3D reality. We are like in 3-dimensional reality. We can only live in this, but for us to be able to manifest ourselves in another D that's like 4D, above 3D, to go like 4th D, we have to be able to elevate at some point, go through a lot of change, a lot of mutation to be able to do that. So when people sit down and say they meditate, and then they say they resonate and all of that, you're still in the 3D dimension. You're not going anywhere. Even with everything that you resonate with and all of that, you're still in the 3D dimension, reality. And you're just discovering all of the other things that exist within the 3D reality that your senses, conventional sensing, cannot perceive, right? So our story is this. From one entity, from one manifestation, our ancestors were able to encounter a manifestation of a being that we don't know about, that we never met. It's like something that's bigger than whatever we might imagine.